Good evening. Welcome back to the FFS podcast. This is episode number 2 of our coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2022 in Qatar. Uh, Today, we're going to be recapping the round of 16, which ended yesterday. So, we're recording this on the day after. But I don't know when you'll probably find this. I suppose you'll find this the day after the the end of the round of 16. So, welcome back. If you haven't watched our previous episode, which was episode 1, we recapped the group stage in a quite an intriguing sort of way. We played Jeopardy. For those of you who don't know, it's like a quiz show based in the US where it was a quiz show basically, and we had 3 guests on there, and it was a whole load of fun. So go check that out. There it was a really different way or unique way, I suppose, of covering the group stage. And now we move on to the next stage, which was the first knockout stage of the World Cup, and that was the round of 16. Joining me on today's very special podcast, we've got Aaron and Naeem, who've been on the podcast multiple times. They're also very close friends of mine who I've known since school. So glad we could have them on here, guys. We're going to skip over introductions because let's not waste too much time. To recap the round of 16 stage, we're going to play another game, but this game isn't going to be very, I suppose, long. It's going to be a very short game. It's going to be different. It's our take on. It's a small quiz. I suppose it's like whoever guesses it first. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna put out certain words out there, and they'll have to guess the player or the country or anything to do with what happened in the round of 16. And then after that, we will be recapping the biggest games and the biggest moments of the previous stage. And finally, we'll end off this podcast by looking forward into the quarterfinals and seeing what to expect from that. So, are you guys ready for this? So, already, let's begin.
Yep, all good.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not going to be sharing the screen unlike last time because unfortunately each tab has the answers, so that's going to be make it very very simple for my guests on today's podcast. All right, guys. So
We wouldn't mind though.
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Yeah, that's true. All right. How am I going to do this? Okay. Aaron, if could we have your video answer, because then we put hands up, I suppose, for those who, if you know the answer first. I'm not sure if I don't think this thing has the the raise hand thing
Option.
option. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm
Give
not
me
sure.
a sec.
Cool. Just bear with us, but yeah, it's gonna be fun. Aaron, I asked Naeem on our previous episode whether he was a competitive person. He said it depended on what he was competing for, and as soon as like the first question, the first panelist or Alankar didn't answer it, Naeem's hands were already up before I could give the 3 count. So we could already see that. How competitive a person are you?
I think it's no secret that I am quite competitive, but I think I know I've met my match in nine when it comes to the knowledge of the game. So yeah, not got high hopes on this.
All right. Okay.
I think Aaron's being fairly modest here.
Yeah.
Always going to be a difficult challenge going up against him.
Yeah, it's Naeem's knowledge of the game versus Naeem's memory of the game. It's like an inner battle that happens inside. It's like I know that player, but I don't know that player.
Yeah.
Or that. Yeah.
And
So
I don't know the player and I don't know either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's hopefully it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I've got. So the way I've designed it is there are 5 words that I'm going to probably use to describe the player, the country, or the coach, whatever the word is. And I will say it in an order, and whoever gets whoever answers first obviously wins the point. And that's how we'll play it. We've got a total of 20 cards that we'll try and yeah, you can do that if you want to rejoin. Do you want to rejoin and see?
Yeah, cool. I'll do that.
Cool. So we've got our contestants ready, and let's go to the okay. All right, let's go on to the first question, or the first person, player, manager, thing, however you want to call it, right? Okay, the first word is Netherlands.
Gakpo.
No. Okay, do I I know this is gonna like you're gonna answer then every single thing. So I'm just wondering whether I should just give negative points out here if you
No,
give a
no, no.
wrong
I
guess.
don't think Netherlands is the right way to go. There's just so many things to guess. I mean, Netherlands could
Yeah,
be
wait.
anything. It could be
Yeah,
Louis Van Gaal. Could be.
yeah, that's what. So that's what you wait for the next ones. Okay, and of course,
Okay.
just guys put your hands up because then I'll know if whoever wants to answer first. So
Yeah.
okay, Netherlands is the first word.
Okay.
The second word is physical. Do I have any takers here? Okay,
Virgil van Dijk.
no. All right, you're blocked now from the next one. Okay. Okay, the next
Put me
word.
on the spot, Naeem.
Yeah, the next word is defender.
Okay.
So, do you want to take a guess, or do you want me to still go on?
I think we can
Like
still
if
go. Naeem's blocked, so it's okay.
yeah. All right. One more pass, and I think I can bring him back for the last bit. Okay.
Okay.
The next one is bald. So think of all that you have.
Let's bring Naeem in. I need help.
All right. Okay. And the last bit is right back.
Dumfries.
Yeah. Denzel Dumfries.
Ooh,
Okay,
friendly
I thought
fire.
you'd get that with. I thought you'd get that with physical. I thought he was one of the more physical players out there.
Probably, I suppose. I don't know. I think of physical and I think of Virgil van Dijk running over everyone.
Fair enough. I mean, fair enough. You had that. Unfortunately, you just spoke too many times that
Yeah.
I had to give you a timeout.
Yeah, fair. I'll be more careful going forward, Sire.
All right.
Please don't.
Okay. Next up, the second one. So that's 1 point to name. Okay. We've got the next one is the first word is American.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone wants to take a guess?
No, we've been burnt enough already.
Okay, fine. Perfect. The second word is manager.
Okay.
Well, come on. Now that's easy. Probably the easiest one. No?
I don't know his name, so I'm not even gonna.
Do you know his name? I can't give any more.
I only know the old German one.
Klinsmann.
Yeah.
Do you want me to pass on this guy? I don't know if you're gonna get it. If
Yeah, I
say
think I'm
American
gonna
manager.
pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Greg Berhalter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I was never gonna guess that.
Yeah, you're never gonna get it. Okay,
Soccer
great.
doesn't matter. It's football.
Fair enough. Okay, so it's still 1-0 to name. The next one,
Off to a good
the
start,
first,
aren't we?
yeah,
Sorry?
off to a good start. Very good start. Okay, the first word is South Korean. Anybody wants to take it?
Son, that's the only one I know.
Yeah, okay, that's correct.
Oh shit! This is not fair. It's like the obvious
I'm
bit.
sorry, you. Yeah,
I
can't
thought
do-
Naeem would jump the gun on that one. I was like, oh.
I don't want to be blocked again.
Yeah. All right. So that's correct. That's Heung-min Son. So it's 1-1 now. All right.
I got a
The
point. I'm
next
happy.
one. Okay, the next one is okay. This is gonna be interesting. The next one is score. Okay, it's just score.
Okay.
The word is score.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing you're not going to take that, right?
Nope.
Okay. The next one is mistake.
Score mistake.
There are
Own goal
shitloads
something.
of-
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Own
true.
goal.
That's correct. Yeah, you got it right.
That's all you had to say. Own goal.
Yeah. I told you it could be anything. At anything that happened in the round of 16. They've been in Enzo Fernandez
There's
scored the own
the-
goal. Is there?
Yeah.
So it's
yeah,
2-1 to Aaron. See, that's the way you take the guess.
Got it.
Okay. All right.
It was more thinking out loud than a guess, but okay, I'll take it.
It's like Japan versus Spain or whatever. That goal, was it a mistake? Was it not? I don't know.
All right.
Oh, Germany.
The next
Who
one.
was it? Was it Germany or Spain?
No, it was Japan, Spain, the one by the line. Yeah.
By the way.
Okay. The next one is Croatia.
I
Keep
don't
going.
wanna say this.
Huh? Oh,
Keep going.
Okay. Okay. The next one is penalties.
I feel like we should know this, but I don't. So please
Yeah.
continue.
Okay. All right. The next one is hero.
Livakovic,
Yeah, Livakovic.
the goalkeeper.
Yeah. The next two
Nice.
was the last one was going to be goalkeeper. I was going to say Japan, then goalkeeper, so you knew what I was talking about. But fair enough. All
When
right,
I
Nice
so
said
it's
one.
penalty, I
2-2 now.
thought as much, but then I was like, let's hold on.
He's so scared.
Or
He's so
just-
scared after I told him to shut up.
But at least he was better. The last game we played, it had like negatives. Like either you earn
Yeah.
800 or you lose 800. And for the
Yeah.
most part of it, I was a negative. So I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't answer.
Yeah,
Until
this is
unless
going to
I'm
be a
very-
quick, fun game anyway. So it's going to be a short game. I just wanted to recap this. All right, the next one, Spain.
knocked out.
Fair enough. That's not it though. Okay. Next, the other one is Barcelona.
Painful to watch.
Spain, Barcelona. Any guesses here?
Yeah, Luis Enrique.
That is correct.
Is it?
Because the
I
other
had
one was
a
going. The third one
Ferran
was going to
Torres,
be
I thought.
yeah, but the next one was going to be Twitch, which would have been Luis Enrique,
yeah.
and manager was the last one. So
I thought
manager
this
coach.
was about Ferran Torres, considering how much you hate him at this point.
I really hate him. We'll get to that anyway later on, but yeah. So that's 3-2 to you.
Yay.
That's 3-2 to me.
That's the
I'm just gonna keep-
scoreline I predicted for Morocco versus Spain. On Morocco's side, I did think Morocco would win it.
All right, the next one, France.
Okay.
Tempted,
Tempted, no? Okay.
but I'm not.
All right. Fast.
Mbappe.
Yeah. That's a good guy. It could have been Dembele actually, but fair enough. That was
I was going to say the one that
That-
broke Naeem's heart, but then I was like, nah,
that
let's
would
not.
be injured. No,
that would be injured. yeah.
Dembele would be injured. France injured. Dembele.
I could have kept injured later on, but no, I kept it as France, fast, winger, and Paris
For
Saint-Germain.
Mbappe, it could have been France, traitor, and then so on and so forth.
Exactly. All right, the next one is Europe. Okay, Europe.
Okay.
Warsaw.
Okay.
Poland.
Yeah, that's correct. Not bad.
Oh, you're going to a country. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'd like I said, it could be anything. So I'm not like listening. So yeah, the others, it was going to be Europe, Warsaw, Hitler, Lewandowski, and Polish. I wanted to put Auschwitz in there, and I'm not gonna smile at that, but I wanted to put that there. But I thought that was gonna be too much of a political thing.
That was escalating quite quickly.
I'm glad you gave the answer before that. It came to that.
I'm very surprised. Yeah. All right. The next one, England.
Hmm.
It's coming home.
They are going home.
Winger.
Yeah, this weekend.
England winger.
Disappointment. Is that the next?
No. Yeah, it could be.
Okay,
Anyone?
next
So
one.
that could
Any
be
ideas?
that
Okay.
could be Sterling then, if it is disappointment. If it is not, then probably Saka.
Okay. Manchester City.
Foden.
Oh,
No, you lost your
Jack Grealish.
shot.
Grealish.
Oh, okay. Now he said it, so both of you now it's replenished again. Okay.
One.
The next one is
Wait, was I not supposed to
Chelsea.
say?
No, you said Jack Grealish, but it's
And I
wrong.
was wrong.
Sterling.
Oh shit.
Correct. he
I
said
missed
it
it.
also. He's like, the next one is disappointment.
But
Yeah.
that's a good move. Like going with City first and then moving on to Chelsea.
Yeah,
Nice.
Mhm.
Throwing people off like that.
correct. I was hoping. The other one would have been Jamaican. That would have probably given it
Would
away.
have been Liverpool.
If I said Liverpool, you would have gotten because no one else there is there. All right. The next one is Europe again.
Okay.
The second word is ski. Ski.
Switzerland.
Yeah, but Naeem said that first.
Cool.
Fair enough.
Are we 5-4 now?
5-4. Yeah, 5-4. Yeah. All right. This is. I mean, setting up. We've got another few more left. So let's. Ooh, what's happening here? Right, decent. Oh,
It's not recording.
right. Okay. No. It is.
Imagine.
Imagine. All right. Let's move on to this one. Senegal.
Mm-hmm.
Dreadlocks.
Okay.
No, yeah. Okay.
I know who it is, but I just don't know the name. So this one is not happening for me.
All right. I'll try and put you out of misery. Manager.
Oh shit! I forgot his name.
I was just gonna say Senegal manager. That's the answer. Don't know his name.
No?
Since we don't know the
Really
name,
cool.
I guess we move to the
Yeah,
next.
it's Aliou Cisse. Other one would former player or retired player, and
Yeah, that wasn't going to help with guessing the name.
exactly. All right, the next one, South America.
Okay.
So only a few countries there, right? Blue.
Uruguay.
No.
Lost out.
It's round of 16, right? So he's only keeping the teams. So it's Argentina related. I just don't know if it's a player that he's going for here. I'll just say
Okay,
Argentina.
so you're saying Argentina?
Brazil do have blue shorts though.
Yeah, it is Argentina though. Yeah.
Not blue
Don't
shorts.
give it away.
It is Argentina. All right, let's go on to the next one. And all right, this one is Argentina.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Barcelona.
Legend.
Messi.
Messi. That's come on, that's simple.
It's very obvious, but that's why I was like wondering, is there another player in Argentina that's also from Barcelona?
Yeah, that's why I
It
didn't
feels
make
like
it
one of
that.
those-
I didn't make it that challenging as well. All right. Okay, let's get to this one. So the first word is extra time. Okay.
Okay.
Dead rubbers.
Second word is ties. So like a tie.
Hmm.
Extra time. Time. Okay.
Extra time, ties. Third one is knockout.
Like Japan versus what was it? Croatia.
No.
That was the
Okay,
one
you're
last
blocked.
night too.
Yeah, you're blocked off now. Uh,
Okay, since he's
the
blocked,
next,
next one.
yeah, the next one is goalkeepers. So extra time, ties, knockouts, goalkeepers.
I'm thinking the Moroccan goalkeeper, but I don't know his name. He did save all three, no? He did.
Damoon or something his name was, I think.
Bono,
Boom.
Bono.
Oh yeah.
He
Bono.
got some of the not the name, but it sounded
Something like
Yeah.
that.
the same.
All right. So do I go for the last one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. The
See
last
what
one's
it is.
shootout. It could be
I was
anything. I'm not
supposed to
saying it's
guess
like
a
a.
game.
It could be
Morocco,
A
anything.
Spain.
tie, it's a draw.
So extra time, tie, knockout, shootout, and goalkeepers. What have they all got in common, or what have, like, if you know, kind of know?
Oh,
Clean
goalkeeper saves, penalty saves. I don't know.
Well, you're
Go
on
for
the
it.
right line. Go on for it.
I went with clean sheets.
What are you going for, Aaron?
What am I going for? I don't even know in what context I'm supposed to guess.
Yeah, it's not. It's all to do
It's
with what
along
happened
the.
in the round of 16. Could be
He said
anything to
along
do
the
with,
lines of saves. So
So I'm
or
saying,
yeah, stake it, I guess. Or if you want to pass it, pass. I'll just probably give it
yeah,
away.
I'm passing. I don't know even what to
even
guess.
I
I
don't
said
know this.
goalkeeper. I said
So
saves.
it's penalties.
That was in the answer. That was in the question.
I thought
Penalties.
No,
was it not?
I
I
just
thought it was already
no,
in the question.
no.
Wait, we said
Extra
shootout.
time. Yeah, shootout. I didn't say penalty. Shootout. I just said shootout.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. The next one is Brazil.
Oh.
Celebration. Music.
That's
Joga
literally every Brazilian game. Next clue.
Dance.
Joga
Their coach dancing. Who was that?
Tite. No,
Hmm.
this wouldn't be that. I think it's the type of this thing, right? Ball,
Samba.
Well, yeah.
samba.
Samba. Yep. Fair
He's
enough.
got it.
That's quick. Good one. Yeah. The next one will be rhythm. Yeah. All right.
Samba style.
Let's move on to this. Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
Only two players there that I know of, or I mean, okay, three maybe. After last night's
All
game.
right. Mother.
Hakimi. Ashraf
Yeah.
Hakimi.
Yeah. Hakimi. Very good. Yeah.
Nice.
I was contemplating whether to say mother or defender. Maybe if I'd put defender first, it would have taken you one more guess, because I guess
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean,
then it
there's
would have been
Saez who's
then it
done
was going
quite
to
well. So
full back and right back. So that was all right. Let's do this one. The first word is goal.
Okay.
Okay. The second word is acrobatic.
Giroud.
Mm, No,
I
not
think
really.
Richarlison's goal in the first game.
Oh yeah.
Probably not good. based on
Okay,
his
we
reaction.
both are
Acrobatic.
blocked out.
The goal, acrobatic. The third one is overhead. Like I mentioned, it could be anything. It could even be. It doesn't have to be the team. It doesn't have to be a player. It could just be whatever it is.
Bicycle.
Yeah, there we go.
Mhm.
Yes.
So I had penalties. I had all of that. But yeah, I was referring to Giroud's acrobatic one. The Richarlison, I think, was in the group stage, right? So wouldn't
Yeah.
have counted here. So fair enough. All right, and let's go on to this one. Brazil,
Okay. Friendly fire.
yeah. Barcelona,
Rafinha.
blocked off.
Okay.
Dani
Winger,
Alves.
oh, blocked off again. Okay, before that.
So both of us are blocked off now.
Winger. Now you're back. Both of you now have chances. So Brazil, Barcelona, winger.
It's not Rafinha. It's not. I mean, it's definitely not. Who else is there in Barcelona?
Neymar in his heyday, I don't know.
Yeah, but is he a winger now? He's not a winger.
That's why I said in his heyday.
It could be anything. I'm not saying it has to be now or whatever.
Oh, but I thought round of 16.
No, but
You
like,
are
the sense
messing
was
around with us.
why? It's not. It's a player. I mean, he traditionally is one.
Yeah,
It's
fair,
not that. Yeah.
It's okay.
So okay, I'm giving you both the point because both of you did say Neymar. So
Cool.
I didn't say Neymar.
okay, you don't want the point. Fair enough.
No,
Okay.
I mean it's.
Okay.
I didn't say Neymar, so I don't want to take.
All right, I thought you did. Fair enough. Okay, 7-8 to Aaron.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're
Don't ask me
we're
how.
50. Okay. What do I have? Right. That is done. That's done. That's done. Okay. So let's do this. Portugal.
Name the pressure's on.
Second word is striker.
Still not falling for this.
Third word is Switzerland.
Goncalo Ramos.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It could still be Cristiano if I was talking about the fact that he didn't start. But I mean, fair enough. You did take that risk of going.
You just had to talk about it, didn't you? You just had to bring that up.
We're anyway going to be talking about it. All right. I suppose this is 16. Am I getting something? Wait 1 minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10. 12, 13. Oh yeah, we've had a couple of passes, right, which I haven't added. Correct. Yeah, cool. So we're down actually to the last one now. Cool.
And we're
Yeah.
squared off as well.
Yep, you squared. Oh shit! Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Okay. Cool. And this was something that you will get. So it will. I don't think you're going to pass on this. Unless you want to, in which case, yeah, fair enough. All right. So the first word is Africa. No. Not yet?
Morocco.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, it is.
That was the only
Right.
African country.
No, wait. Senegal was there. Senegal
was there. That's why I hesitated with it. Yeah.
He did.
I was just thinking that went through, but okay, cool.
I
Yeah,
like.
but it was.
Yeah, might as well take a shot.
I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right?
Get blocked off.
You lose.
For
Yeah,
another.
you'll lose the game because the next
then-
one would have probably been Red or Star or Casablanca, something like that. So, yeah, fair enough. All right, we are done. Congratulations to Naeem for that. He's won 2 games in a row, man. Not bad.
Wow. It's like you're leaking the answers to me, Paddy.
Exactly. The first one I actually had I had so many doubts on whether the fact
I
that
had
he's
a
spoken.
serious doubt.
Huh?
I had serious doubts within that game about winning, especially when you threw me the question of naming all the draws, all the games that were draws. That was very difficult to remember. I don't know how I managed, but thank God.
No, but I was scared while I was preparing those questions, because you and I have spoken about most of those moments before, and so I was like, oh no, if he gets all of those questions where we've spoken about and he answers it like easily, I'm like, oh no, what are people going to think? But thankfully,
I
it
think my
actually was
memory
quite,
helps in that case.
yeah. And the fact when it started with him going minus, 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 I was like, okay, thank God, at least he's there. Even if he has to come back, at least I have some story to say that he's come back. But all right, congratulations. And let's talk about the round of 16, guys, which just got over. 8 games across 4 days. And what did you guys think overall? Because we've had what is arguably the best group stage in recent World Cup memory, just in terms of the number of upsets, the number of close games, and all of that. Do you think the quarterfinals sort of fizzed out? No, the round of 16 sort of fizzed out in a bit, or because we saw like the strongest teams actually qualify, or do you think it sort of kept up with how good the games were from the group stage? Naeem?
I mean, so obviously the upsets from the group stages kind of set up potentially multiple dark horses into the tournament. And looking at the way they performed during the group stages, it felt like maybe we'll have a few more dark horses advancing through at least to the next round. Like I honestly thought Japan would make it into the next round. I also thought Saudi would somehow scrape through and get into this round. It was quite sad to see how it just didn't pan out for them. So yeah, in terms of group stages, a lot of upsets. At least it started that way, with some major teams going down to teams that you didn't expect to. See them winning against or losing against. Sorry. But then I think largely in round of 16 it was kind of back to like normalcy. Basically, it's like what you would expect would happen happened. You saw your major European teams go through mostly, and then your 2 South American teams that are tipped to win the World Cup. So yeah, it was a good result for Morocco, especially. So it was really nice to see that. But yeah, largely it panned out the way it should have ideally, or we would have predicted it to pan out, with the exception of probably just Germany sort of being knocked out in the earlier stages rather than the round of 16. Probably if you asked me before the tournament where I saw Germany progressing to, I would have probably said either round of 16 or quarters. So it was kind of a shock to see Germany exit so early.
Okay, no, Aaron, but do you think the round of 16 carried on the way the group stage was, like that excitement, all of that, or do you think, I suppose, like now you mentioned the group stage saw a lot of upsets, and like now you mentioned that that meant that we saw a lot of dark horses, a lot of I wouldn't say smaller teams, but a lot of underdogs in the round of 16. And did we see what we saw in round of 16? Did we see like it was bound to happen that the big teams would eventually find their way through, will find their third gear and beat those teams? Because we didn't see too many more upsets. We saw a couple of strong matches, I think. But what are your overall take from the round of 16?
Yeah, I think along similar lines as Naeem, obviously the group stages were exciting because you had so many results that we probably didn't expect. And also, probably some of the bigger teams, including those that went through, for instance, like Brazil, Spain, etc., weren't really playing their best. And like you said, they probably stepped it up a little bit.
Not Spain.
Well, not Spain, but yeah.
Exactly. We went to first gear. We went to reverse, and like, okay, let's get back.
Yeah, probably got a little homesick. So But yeah, I think we had some of the teams kind of step up, and I guess maybe it was also kind of the effect of what we saw in the group stages, where it was kind of a wake up call to teams like, for example, Netherlands and Brazil, that were kind of playing the slow and waiting game. I think teams like Japan showed that if you're going to play that whole cautious thing first, Japan and the teams that are playing quick and just on the counter could kind of spring up surprises, and that's sadly your boys didn't learn from their mistakes. But yeah, again, just getting back to the whole round of 16s, yeah, it kind of seemed anticlimactic because there were a couple of one-sided games with the stronger teams that we expected to go through, really kind of rubbing it in on the minnows, if you would like to call them that, or the smaller teams. The Brazil South Korea game and the Portugal Switzerland game are two that stick out as sore thumbs, because you
Yeah,
really kind of thought that there'd be some sort of fight, if not a surprise, but you
especially with
thought
the
it would be
Switzerland one.
competitive. Yeah,
Especially with the
you.
Switzerland one. I think South Korea, we kind of maybe expected Brazil to, I wouldn't say steamroll, but at least win with comfortable ease. But the Switzerland one, I really didn't think it was going to be like 6-1. It's probably the biggest surprise, or the biggest. It was the biggest score line, right, in the whole of the round of
Yeah,
16, 6-1.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think we
So
all expected. I mean, you would think that Portugal would make it through, but you would think that Switzerland would make it difficult for them, and to concede 6 goals or something that, yeah, something that you wouldn't
especially,
have dreamt of. Yeah. So
I
yeah.
honestly
especially
thought
without their
it was one
talisman.
of those games that would run on to extra time and then probably to penalties.
Yeah,
And probably then Portugal progresses from there on, because Portugal defensively have been, I would say, solid so far in the
yeah.
tournament. But on the attack, until this game, it was terrible watching them. It felt like
We all
they
know
were
why.
lost. Um, I don't agree with that. I think
Come
there's
on.
inherently a lot wrong with that forward line. Uh, Something that probably he fixed with making multiple changes yesterday. Uh, and hopefully he kind of uses that impetus to sort of move forward and play the attacking game rather than holding and seeing how the opponents play, then to react to that, because I think that puts you in uh, a place where you don't want to be, because once someone scores, uh, like Morocco for example, even though they didn't score, teams like those, they've come with a clear cut strategy. They know how to sort of make sure you have possession in pointless areas. Like,
Yeah,
you keep all the possession you want, but where it matters, we're not going to let you have the ball. So I think for those kind of games, and for Portugal's luck or whatever you want to say, the best thing that could happen to them yesterday was they scored a goal early, because that would push Switzerland out
into
to try and get a goal, and that happened.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
otherwise, Switzerland are hard to break down. It's extremely difficult to break that backline down. So I was quite surprised in terms of how they dismantled that team. Overall, yeah, round of 16, no surprises as such, but like Australia, for example, against Argentina, you'd expect
Argentina, yeah.
Argentina to steamroll Australia. That didn't happen. In fact, Australia came really close to equalizing at some point towards the end of the game. So kudos to them. I don't know
Yeah, I
if
think
that's
the same with the Americans as well. I think with Netherlands versus USA, like it felt, I suppose, like Netherlands had that second or the third gear that they could easily shift into,
yeah, but
but
that's the difference, right? Like, so
yeah,
for example, like with Netherlands, I felt like it was a choice they made,
yeah,
wherein
yeah,
they
yeah,
felt there was no need to switch a couple more gears on to find that goal, or if required, we can do it. With Argentina,
and they
I
did,
felt
yeah,
like they were on full throttle and they were finding it difficult to break down teams. And that is a major problem for them. Like, even if they're one of the favorites to win it, I
yeah,
find it really difficult to see them progressing against teams like, even say, Portugal for that matter, because it's so difficult to break down the defense. Or even Brazil for once, I think, Aaron, in a really, really long time, you see a defensive line in Brazil that can sort of hold up and at least like support the front line to do what it's supposed to do. And it's good to see that we are not on the side of the wrong side of being at a 7-1 score or so. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
those memories are terrible. So
Give
it's
it time. There's still
positive.
lots of time in this tournament.
Yeah, that is true. Absolutely.
All right. So the of the round of 16 games, what was your best game of the stage, and what is the best moment from the best moments, top three moments from the round, entire round? Whoever wants to take it, that's all. Best game. Let's start off with the best game first.
Well, I think in terms of just sure pleasure of watching a good game, I think the first half of Brazil's game was just enjoyable to watch, and that's probably a bias of being a Brazilian fan. But I think, like we touched on earlier, I think we saw a lot of the games where the big teams were kind of just going through the motions and probably just playing in first gear, not really looking as incisive as we know that they can be. And just to see Brazil, I mean, barring the finishing that was pretty ordinary, the amount of time they were able to cut through the defense and get chances for pretty much everyone that was playing in the attacking line was something that was really nice to watch. As far as results go, again, I hate to do this to you, but the Morocco Spain one,
Yeah, yeah. You don't
to be
need to actually.
honest,
I'm glad as well. Like
to
honestly, I'm
be
just glad that I don't have to suffer watching Spain play
yeah,
that
to
football.
be honest, it's not that I despise Spain. In fact, I do have a couple of Spanish players from the past that I really supported. So Spain does have some sort of soft spot, or at least some sort of support from my end. But the way they played against Japan, I don't know who I was watching it with, but I just told them I really hope they go out in the next game because they were just so lethargic and they just seemed like it. I mean, obviously it's not the case, but it almost felt like they didn't want to be there because it was just ridiculous the way they were just moving from side to side, passes basically just for the sake of passing. And it
Yeah.
was nice to see that Morocco, with their attacking intent, really get under the skin of the Spanish, and you could really see that at the end of the day, the nerves did get to them. And I mean, I hate to take pleasure in someone else's suffering, but yeah, that was another one. So I think that would be moment number two for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the third one, again, from maybe the result didn't kind of justify it, but I think Netherlands, USA, as well as Argentina, Australia were two competitive games, and I mean it's a toss up between the two, but just to see two competitive teams going at it against each other was good. I probably give it to Argentina only because I mean no one would have expected Australia to give such a tough fight because when it comes to paper, I think everyone would have said quality wise Argentina should win it comfortably, but to see just a team playing hard football and competing was pretty heartening. So I'd give it to the Argentina and Australia game.
Fair enough. I think those are definitely three really good moments. I think yeah, Brazil, Portugal both showed like what happens when you start attacking right from the get go. I think it like even from I know Spain like just fell off a cliff after the first game against Costa Rica in the group stage, but that first game against Costa Rica also showed that they attacked right from the first moment, and they started scoring goals right from the get go, right? So like
Which
do
is kind of the disappointment when you know you've got it in you and you just kind
yeah,
of revert back to the same old ways. And if you look at it, it's only because of that game that they actually made it to the round of 16
yeah,
at the end of the
exactly.
day. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it,
was
it's
I was shocked by that. I felt that was an anomaly rather than the other games being anomalies
mhm.
because it was I didn't right from the probably from the squad selection to everything with Spain. It just felt like I don't know what Enrique was thinking. It just didn't feel like it. And then the moment they started scoring 6-7, I was like, oh, maybe he's actually unlocked something in there. Maybe those years of being stable, a stable coach or something, or bringing stability to Spain actually has resulted in anything. And then I saw the game against Germany, and then I was like, oh, okay,
Here we go again.
back to earth. Yeah, back to square one.
Considering you had
Um,
seen how Germany were in the first match
yeah,
today, you
exactly.
knew
Yeah.
what bar
They
you were
were,
setting yourself up to.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were there for the taking. Like, you could get at that
And I
Germany
think
side. And
there were enough signs throughout those two games to kind of know that if you were too casual, that I mean, you're not as rock solid as you think. So,
exactly,
I mean, he should have kind of at least had a plan B mid game if you wanted to start the way you are and then kind of change things up. But it just never happened. And I think
they didn't.
one of the commentators even said it when it's the dying minutes of the game and you're still passing it square and you're like, are you trying to win it or what are you trying to do? So
That's
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah,
it was
yeah, he did
just
say
I
that.
mean, you usually see people pump the ball into the box,
Yeah, it's
and
like nothing.
I mean, see, there are two ways it goes, right? One, they remain that calm, they keep passing it around between themselves, and they somehow manage to get that through ball
One
in, or
decisive pass. Yeah,
Sarabia scores that goal, and
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
talks about, oh, how calm are they? And look at how like the clock's running out, and they're still like playing their game. They're not thinking about it. And now there's the flip side of it, wherein you're thinking, okay, there's only 30 seconds or 40 seconds to go. What the hell are you doing just passing the ball sideways?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and it's sideways. I mean, I
create
get it that
three more
Morocco
chances,
had
put the ball in, whatever happens,
like
happens.
Morocco had like fine. Morocco had like 9 players in the box or whatever. They were parking the bus. Fair enough. That was their plan. Park the bus and counter like no tomorrow. Right? That was the plan. They worked it to perfection at times. But I'm saying like when you you try and pass it, but try and pass it forward. Don't pass it side. And like I do remember that Aaron when he said like there seems to be no urgency. No, they just seem to be playing for extra time or for penalties. And I'm like, yeah, they're not even like moving, going forward. Do something. I can get it
The funny
if you
thing is,
try.
I think the funny thing is that even when we say that as a criticism, I think Enrique takes it as like a compliment and like let's do it the next game again. So yeah, I think we need to stop saying that.
Exactly. Yeah. Name your best top 3 moments and the best game from the round of 16.
Uh, Best game for me was probably. But I mean, if I had to pick one, probably I would go with Morocco Spain. Simply
Okay.
because of it reminded me of the game Inter played against Barcelona,
Yeah.
wherein it was pure masterclass in terms of defense. You know what your opponent is good at, you know your limitations, so you play to your strengths by not um, experimenting with too much. I mean, I have seen two very different sides of Morocco, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I felt like the matches I saw in the group stages, Morocco seemed like a more attacking side.
Yeah, they were.
They
Yeah.
they were a lot more, how would I say,
But I
possess.
think,
They played a lot more possession football, but quick possession, like not in terms of slowing
yeah.
the game down or anything like that, and a lot more
Hmm.
attacking in terms of how they went out in front and trying to get that goal. With Spain in this game, I think they had a very clear cut strategy in terms of saying, okay, we know the opposition has probably the better team. We can't play if we try to play their style of play, we're gonna get beat. So
Yeah.
this is the best opportunity. We make sure we have our focus. We don't unnecessarily exhaust ourselves out. Keep the ball in front of us and let's see what happens from there. And
Yeah.
to their
Huh.
benefit, Spain played exactly the way they wanted them to play. I
Yeah.
mean, at no point did I feel like Moroccan players were out of place. Maybe like towards the end, a little bit when they were really tiring out, one or two chances opened up. Even the Sarabia chance which popped up, I think that could have been offside.
That would have been. Yeah, that was definitely
Probably.
offside.
So, I mean, brilliant in terms of actually lasting that long with sheer focus and like keeping a clean
They
sheet.
kept it. Their structure was compact as like
Yeah.
it's something that Benitez would have been proud of actually. I
It
think they
just
kept
felt
it
like,
really compact.
it's like a group of 4 players
Yeah,
in red and one blue player. He can either choose to pump the ball in or choose to pass it onto the side. So he passes it onto the side, and the same 4 group of players move onto the right side, keeping the ball in front of them. And that's like the most basic thing. Like, come on, Spain, can't you see it? What they're doing to you? What are you
yeah.
trying to do here? It's like,
Yeah.
see, I understand playing the game in one kind of way that you're used to and you think is the right way to play the game and stuff. But if you're not smart enough to know when it's not working, then
Or
this is what
adapt
happens.
to it. Yeah, you're not able
Yeah,
to
you
adapt
just
to the situation.
you got to
But I
switch.
suppose that's
I
also.
mean,
I mean, I know we're focusing a lot on the Morocco Spain game here, but it also shows the danger of like a lot of those players play in that particular style. Like you have the midfield, which is Busquets, Gavi, and Pedri. Okay, Barcelona players who only play that style, and when you're stuck with of play, when your engine especially is so used to playing that kind of football, it's probably bound to happen that you are going to you know aim being very possession based or
but
aim
then
at
see,
like
that's the thing, right? Like, I mean, ideally, either his selection's gone completely wrong in terms
his
of
selection is
selecting
wrong
only those kind of players inherently, and
and
the
his
problem
philosophy.
is everyone sees it now. Like Barcelona plays the way they did 10 years ago, in more often than not, and any team that plays that intensive, high intensity games will be able to break them down because they are not ready to be. First of all, they don't have a good defensive line, to be honest.
Yeah,
Uh, so they're not ready for those counter attacks. And I think in the modern game, people have become so good at finishing more often than not. If they get that one chance, they'll take it and score it.
Hmm.
The rest did it, I don't know, what, 7, 8 years ago when he got that
yeah.
one chance. He hadn't scored any goal probably until then. It was what quoted the 50 million goal, wherein he managed to break through and go and score against Barcelona. Uh, it's a similar kind, right? Like it's a repeat cycle. 2010, yes, it worked for Spain, and I think
Yeah.
2012 also they won the Euros.
Yeah,
Right?
until 2008 to 12 was probably when Tiki
Yeah,
Taka was probably
but then
at its
I
height,
think
right?
whether it was Mourinho or you want to call it Bayern Munich, but there was a clear cut way shown that this is what works
Yeah,
against this kind of play. And since then, I mean, if Bayern
I mean
have done anything but
the game
shown
has
that,
evolved as well. Even the whole thing, the game has evolved. The way people press, the way people attack you. It's not like
yeah.
the olden day where people let you have that much time on the ball.
So the
Everyone is
question is like,
attacking.
I mean, what do you play for? Do you play for the results or do you play for the beauty of the game? You got to find the right balance.
Yeah.
If you're just playing,
Which is weird because wasn't under Enrique the MSN trio
yeah,
flourishing? Wasn't
in
it under him? And
2014, 15,
I
I
mean,
think it was.
that was still, I mean, enjoy. And I remember even in his first stint as a Spain coach, it was actually not too bad. I think we played exciting football. I don't know if there's a dearth of talent there, and we've got too many youngsters like Gavi and Pedri who are way too young to be anchoring those roles, or the fact that he's just been stubborn, or there's got something wrong where he's trying to bring back that style of tiki taka again, or I don't
Was
know.
this the
But
youngest squad?
probably been a while since we've had any
No, no.
younger
I wanted to ask, like, is this
in
the
the.
youngest group of players in the tournament?
I don't think so. We've got pretty old players as well. I mean, only a few young players. I don't think there are many young players, right? Because they're like Jordi
Ferran,
Alba are
Gavi.
Olmo.
Okay, you've got Busquets, you've got Alba.
Yeah,
Who else?
Carvajal's old enough.
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely.
Morata is old enough, I think.
But Morata has not started, right? Or like, I mean,
Yeah, okay,
until
fine.
No,
If you don't take him in, sorry, what are you saying, Aaron?
no, I'm saying probably when you look at the starting lineup, probably if not the youngest, but they'll probably be up there with probably one of the most inexperienced squads.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? So
Um,
that's the thing.
mm,
I think the experience has lacked, or at least even if it is the experience, it's coming from the wrong people. I'm sorry to say this, but Busquets
No, no.
is in no shape to be running that midfield whatsoever
I
in
don't
terms
think he
of
should be
leadership.
captain. I don't think he should be captaining the. I don't think he should
Uh,
be in the side first of all. But the fact that he's there is a start. No, I get it. I think that rather than it being young or this thing, you can have a young squad that has still got experience in these big games. Barcelona haven't played any of these massive knockout Champions League games. They've lost most of them. They're now in Europa. You've then got City with Laporta and Rodri who know how to win league games. Knockouts is a different cup of tea. Morata is still okay. Ferran is another issue. Danny Olmo in Leipzig doesn't have too many of these sort of experiences. So yeah, I mean, I don't know whether I mean, these things will obviously give them experience. I don't know how much it will help them. All right, let's move on now quickly to the. We're spending too much time on. It's going to be like a Spain review only. Let's talk about your top three moments that were there. What are your
yeah, so for me, the first half of Brazil, like Aaron mentioned in round of 16, it was,
Mhm.
I can't even explain what it felt like. It felt
Samba back?
like it just clicked. It's like,
Yeah.
and now the thing is, see, there are two ways what happens post that first half once you've seen that kind of football. Either you kind of keep at that intensity uh, and you steamroll the opponent, or you decide to reserve whatever energy you've got left in the tank, and you just sort of make sure you don't lose the game from there on, which sort of sometimes can backfire, because if you lose that momentum and the team somehow manages to get the one or two goals quickly, then the momentum shifts to them. So it's a very double-edged sword. So I was a little scared about the fact that maybe if Korea managed to get one or two,
One.
say within the next 10 minutes or so, in like around the 68th minute or so, then things might just stir on from here, and it might. And that's the worry with Brazil. I sometimes get this feeling. I hope that's not the case, but I feel like they know how good they are, and that might just play
Mm.
against them. Like
Okay.
it's scary to see what they can do. So I don't know, Aaron, did you see how ineffective? Yeah, actually I remember it. We were talking about the strikers the other day. But like when Neymar was absent and when Neymar's been on the field, like as much as I dislike Neymar for n number of reasons in terms of how wasteful he can be, I think from an attacking perspective, he just adds something to the team. Maybe he just becomes that threat that other defenders need to really focus on, so that opens up more space for the others to attack into. But I just felt like him coming into the team again really opened up the game for Brazil, and they made use of that space very much so, especially on the wings, cutting in with the likes of Vinicius, Rafinha. I mean, Rafinha did everything in that game except for score, and the sheer number of chances he had was insane. I was like, I felt like Brazil was just like passing the ball to him to like just get the goal already. Like all of us have scored, just get it, Like, and it was painful to watch. Like I really wanted Rafinha to get that goal as well, because it would mean like a lot of people, like everyone's got that momentum. They're all working towards that goal. Um,
Yeah.
what do you think about like Brazil with and without Neymar?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to give him credit. I think this since the start of the season, whether it is because it's a World Cup season or if you want to kind of take a leap of faith and say finally he has matured or whatever, but you got to give him credit. I mean, even what we've seen with PSG, he's kind of embraced the provider sort of role rather than be the one that does the scoring or even the assist. But he looks at opening up spaces for the others. He makes some decent runs so that others have place to go into, and then also, yeah, providing a through ball which could then end up with the assist and things like that way. So you've got to give him credit there. I think couple of things of note was also you could see that how for the younger players and the inexperienced players there were a couple of times where he had his arm around them whatever it was he was saying, it maybe not what we think it is, where it's something motivational. It probably was where we grabbing a bite tonight or something like that way. But just the fact that he's kind of inculcating that sort of team spirit and kind of getting people together. I think, like you mentioned, for Rafinha, when they were coming out of the tunnel at the start of the second half, he was in his ear for quite a bit. So
Like,
yeah, it's
yo,
nice to see
Rafinha,
him.
sunny in it.
Yeah, it was almost like a testimonial for Rafinha because, like you said, they were just giving him the ball and like, come on, put it at the back of the net. But yeah, I mean, it was nice to see the players kind of embracing the team game. I mean, we've been quite critical of them, saying that they've been selfish or holding onto the ball too long and things like that way. But it seemed to be coming together. But yeah, the scars of 2014 still are still there. So let's not say anything till it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next two moments.
Um,
I think one. No, he said Brazil was the second one. Spain. Morocco was
Oh,
one.
I
yeah,
thought that was
Spain
the
Morocco
first
was,
best.
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. That'll be the okay. Then one more. Get one more.
Uh, Kylian Mbappe. I
Ah.
mean, as much as I hate what happened, I
Like, he's
cannot deny in pure basic terms of how to play football. Not your trickery, none of that. This guy
just direct.
knows he's got pace. He knows he has to rely on that pace to get shit done. And fucking hell, he gets it done. Fuck. There was this, I think it was his first goal against Poland. I'm not quite sure. Giroud scored one, and
Yeah.
then he
He
just
took the
comes
rocket.
onto the ball,
Yeah,
and then he stops, and you think the moment's gone,
gone.
right? Like, I don't think he's scoring from there, and I'm like, why did he waste that chance? And then he unleashes this strike out of nowhere, and I'm like, fuck, like,
Yeah.
why could you not just make the move to Madrid, you dumbass?
And I think
Uh,
that's
But
the
you
thing
should
that
have.
we all urge him to do. I mean, we know he's got a dangerous right foot, especially that one curling in from the left hand side. We know he's got that shot, whether he goes high or he goes even along the ground, he's got that shot. And the pace, like you said, I mean, it's almost Ronaldo like when he just does one step over and leaves the defender for dead. You know he can do it, you know it's coming, but there's nothing you can do to stop it. But
Yeah.
sometimes he kind of over elaborates some of those things, and you're like, why? But I think that's something he kind of shows every now and then by just doing the basics and kind of keeping it simple. He can be the best, if not one of the best, when it comes to that attacking front.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
from here on in, I just hope he sort of matures from a professional point of view, understanding what he really needs to do. Because if he manages to keep his head right, this guy is going to be really good. I mean, there are only two players I can really think of that are going to like get even close to the Ronaldo Messi era, and that's Haaland and Mbappe. If
Yeah.
they manage to keep doing what they're doing and don't lose focus, less of partying and more of practicing and training, I suppose. So yeah, for me, that moment where he just,
Yeah.
first of all, like, his pace is very, very frightening. I mean, if I were to ever go up against that player, I would stay next to the goalkeeper and be like, yeah, I'm not challenging this guy. I'm just going to stay here and wait for him and then hope that I can,
Get
put
the
in a tackle.
foul.
Yeah,
Take the
maybe.
foul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. But
Um.
yeah, interesting to see how it all pans out from here on in. A lot of interesting fixtures coming up.
Yeah. Before we get to that, just one more team that we probably failed to mention too much. I mean, we probably spoke about Japan, Croatia a bit, which was also a pretty fun game to watch. I think Japan were really intense. Just needs that final finishing touch, final finisher in the box. It's something that we saw against Croatia and no, Costa Rica. Sorry, not Croatia, against Costa Rica, where they failed to score and then Costa Rica gets one goal and they win that match. So same thing here. The penalties sort of hurt them. But I think the one team that I felt we missed out talking about is our dear friend England. Uh, I just wanted to
Yeah,
get
we should
uh,
definitely talk
like
about that team.
I'm not talking about whether it's coming home or not, but I just want to get your thoughts as to like how you think their World Cup has gone so far.
I think they've had it easy, to be honest. England is England. I don't see them progressing too far out. I think this is pretty much the end of the road for them. I don't see them progressing past France. A lot of people talking about this English side is probably going to stun France. Honestly, I'll be very surprised, and like
You'll be
I don't
stunned.
see
Yeah.
extremely very much so.
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
I don't like. I mean, yes, they have done a decent job so far, but I don't think they're much of a threat or an actual contender for the World Cup. I think they've just been very lucky in terms of who they've played up against. So I don't know about you guys, but seeing Foden not start uh, in the first few English games, the games that England played was quite surprising, especially considering the form he's had for City. I thought he would be a definite starter, especially with the lack of creative midfielders that England has within the team. Um, so it was quite surprising not to see him. But obviously, in that third game, he came in and he proved a point to Gareth
Yeah.
Southgate, and that prompted him to then play him in the round of 16, and it clearly showed like how good he really is. Uh, so
And now with Sterling gone back home, I think now it's just clear cut that Foden will be a starter.
yeah, I mean, seems that way definitely. Um, as a whole, the English team, I'm not quite sure. I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think they've been lucky. I wouldn't say like lucky per se, but like they've had easier fixtures than the other teams that have played. Basically, the top European sides have played. Um, like if you put them against a Switzerland or Japan, would they still be able to perform in the way they did? I'm not quite so sure. I think they struggle with a similar. Um, they probably like Spain in a lot of ways, but with probably better finishing. That's my
Okay.
take on England right now.
Aaron?
So that yeah.
I think I'll probably echo a lot of things that Naeem said. One was the Phil Foden thing. I mean, I think everyone would agree with the amazement of him not being able to make it into the starting lineup of that particular England squad. So that was something that had everyone scratching their heads. Um, s- I think, like Naeem also touched base, I think one of these more robust teams is something that traditionally does trouble England, and I think be it them being fortunate or whatever, but the oppositions that they have come across are similar in the sense where they try to play a more open and naturally forward moving game. So that kind of opened up quite a lot of spaces for a midfield that you would think is, I mean, barring Foden, I think is slightly a little unimaginative when you look at the likes of Henderson and some of the other players around him. I mean, yeah, they do pass some forward moving balls, but they are not the first names that come to mind when you talk about creative or dynamic midfielders. So I think being the nature of the opposition that they've had is something that they've been fortunate with. And I think if you want to draw back on experience from some of their previous fixtures, I think the Italy England final in the Euros is one that clearly showed that when a team kind of, you know, I wouldn't say park the bus, but when they are more defensive minded or more disciplined when it comes to being defensive and keeping their shape, I think that's normally the team that frustrate England because they kind of like to have that open play where no one's kind of pushing them over or the argy bargy kind of defending. I think the English players feel a little, let's say, privileged that way where they want to be pampered.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
but I think looking at the opposition going forward, also, I think it's, if you want to be positive as an England supporter, I think this is probably mm, the least likely that they're going to have anyone that's going to be as frustrating as you'd want them to be. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think if England, the only thing that holds England back is themselves, and that's been probably historically their biggest
Yeah.
rivals, or their
Of course.
biggest opponents are themselves. So, where they kind of get in their own heads, their own expectations kind of weigh them down. So,
I think, but
I think,
I mean, sorry to cut you off, but attacking wise, they're probably a better side this time around. But defensively, I don't think they've been exposed enough. Like the likes of
Yeah.
Harry Maguire, I think they're there for the taking, and I think we're going to see that in the game against France. Like the true test for that back line is going to be against France. We're going to see what it's like, because against USA, when USA played the way they did in terms of that strategy of playing the technical football, not giving space to the team, they managed to hold England down. And while that's not the kind of game France will play, they do have very pacey defenders who can easily cover uh, ground from one place to another. So um, it's going to be interesting to see how the centre backs are going to deal with the pace of Kylian Mbappe and Ousmane Dembele, because it's not just one.
yeah,
It's not just Mbappe that will be threatening. It's
And
Dembele that's going to be a big
and
problem
the
for them.
wiliness of Olivier
Giroud,
Giroud, who will be
absolutely right.
somewhere there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I
I
mean,
Crazy.
think it's, yeah, I think it comes down to a very overused word, which is balance. And I think maybe throughout this tournament, I think people have thought similar lines where the English backline is not the greatest, and you kind of try and overdo it and kind of leave yourselves open at the back, which has probably helped the English so far. But yeah, completely agree. I mean, the dynamic of the attacking front of France for that is quite impressive, because you've got pace, you've got trickery when you want it, you've got just a direct play with Giroud being the focal point there. So, yep, it is going to be the toughest challenge they face, no doubt. But yeah, I think you need to be equally wary that when it comes to attacking, like Naeem said, England is no slouch there either. So it is going to be an interesting battle, and yeah, I don't think at the moment you can for sure say who's got the upper hand here. I think you got to let it play out and see how that goes.
one thing though is like
Right.
about France to say is Griezmann. Fuck, he's found
Yeah.
his way
He
in this
has. Yeah.
tournament. Like how influential he's been for France during the games is insane to say. Like I don't think he scored any goals, but to say that he's not been a part of almost every build up that they've had is like crazy. It's like he's so intrinsic to
Yeah.
the kind of game that they're trying to play. Uh, it's wonderful, and obviously Giroud being the focal point,
I
kind
found
of
even this guy, Rabiot, to be a
yeah,
player reborn for some
very
reason. Like I was
absolutely
like,
right.
where did he come from?
Yeah,
Um,
it's
yeah, it's
quite.
just
He doesn't
different.
look like anything like the players that we saw at Juventus in the past 2 years.
Juventus,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it's quite
Uh,
surprising.
let
Especially like he had an
let's.
overhead kick too. It was quite
Hmm,
felt very out of the
yeah, yeah,
place
yeah, yeah.
for him to take that shot, but good on him.
Yeah. Let's talk about the quarterfinals coming up now. So we've got four big games. We've got uh, Portugal versus Croatia. No, Portugal versus Morocco.
Morocco.
Croatia versus Brazil. Um, England versus France, and Netherlands versus Argentina. How excited are you guys for the quarterfinals? Like big games, high stakes. It's two more steps away from that gold trophy, that glistening gold trophy. What do you guys think?
For me, like I'm very much excited in terms of like so I don't know how to explain this. Okay, there's a little bit of sadness that teams like Japan and
Yeah,
Senegal have gone out, and maybe a little part of me wants them to go through. But there's this whole other this thing of wanting to watch a Netherlands
The
versus
biggest.
Argentina.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the biggest going up against the biggest historically, like to
Yeah.
put
Of
it
course.
that
Yeah.
way, right? Yeah, and like just thinking about it, it's just like, I mean, yeah, on paper, Brazil and Croatia, I feel like Brazil's got that in the bag, hopefully. Like, I mean, but I don't want to jinx anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx anything because it's the knockouts. Anything is possible. One bad day can ruin everything for you. Uh, so let's see. But in terms of fixtures, I think the most that I'm really looking forward to is Argentina and Netherlands. I really want to
Yeah.
see. Like, I feel like if there's a true test for Argentina to see what they if they can actually go all the way, this is the one.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Netherlands has got a very good balance in terms of the defense and the attack. They're not the most expressive Netherlands side, that side that's played the game. Obviously,
They're
they're not as
effective and
expansive.
efficient, I feel.
They're effective and
They're
efficient.
very
Yeah,
they're quite German in the like they're not the flashiest, but
yeah. It gives you
Get the
the
job done.
2014 Germany vibes
yeah,
in the
yeah,
sense
yeah,
that
yeah,
they're very confident that they can get a goal, but they
yeah,
will not overdo things to a level where they'll
yeah.
leave themselves open. At least
2010
not.
Germany was flashy. 2010 Germany was very
Yeah,
flashy, and the 2014 was more efficient that way. Yeah,
yeah.
I would agree. I think yeah, the Netherlands Argentina one is I feel like more so than England France. I feel Netherlands Argentina are the two teams where they're on equal footing. I think both teams are rightfully matched all the way through.
So honestly, I don't agree.
Um,
Like, I think
what?
Netherlands is ahead of Argentina in this game. I think Netherlands is a much more complete side uh, than Argentina. And having seen Argentina play against the likes of Saudi, uh,
No, I mean on paper, I feel like
Australia, in fact,
they're decently.
yeah. But
E-
like, I mean, I'm talking in terms of purely group stage performances and round of 16
uh,
as well. I just
yeah.
feel
Okay.
Argentina have had multiple nervy moments, whereas
Yeah.
Netherlands been a lot more assured in terms of
Sure,
we
yeah.
know Netherlands is gonna has this in the bag. Like, I'm not
Hmm.
watching the games. Yeah, USA probably gave them a little bit of a this thing, but like I mentioned earlier, I felt like
It
Netherlands
was
could
out of choice.
easily
Yeah.
easily turn up the gears
They
if they
did.
needed to. Yeah,
USA scored,
eventually
and
to get
within
the
like
goal.
three
Yeah,
minutes,
yeah, they
three
did.
minutes,
Yeah,
like they put in
so
another.
it
Yeah.
felt more of a choice rather than like that's what they had become
Yeah.
rather, as in
Yeah.
like it was a choice made. Whereas Argentina, I feel one other thing that will probably play up against Argentina is more often than not they left the game to the second half and they've had to
Hmm.
really struggle to
Dig deep.
win the game, which means they've burnt a lot of energy. And I don't know if they'll have enough against Netherlands because one thing Netherlands is gonna do is be very uh, tight in terms of how they mark people. I'm interested to
Yeah.
see if Messi gets enough space to create any sort of magic here. Because
Aren't the
honestly, in a lot of ways, he's been carrying
uh,
that team in this
yeah.
World Cup. Like, it's felt like he's
But
come out.
no, but do you think this whole thing of make helping because this is Messi's final World Cup, the fact that Argentina will try and do anything they can to help Messi get the win the World Cup. I'm not saying that Messi doesn't do anything, but I'm saying they will try and do anything. Will that probably also try and hamper? Will that hamper them eventually against a team like Netherlands, where they're probably too desperate to, if they were
So,
to fall
are
back,
you
maybe.
trying? Are you saying that they might just focus on Messi to try and get him to be
No, no,
that?
no, no, no. I'm not saying that Messi will be the focal point as such, but it just could be that they are desperate enough that it might work for Argentina, for Netherlands, that they're facing a team that probably has to win because this is like their last chance to,
I mean,
from a psychological
Netherlands.
perspective.
I think Netherlands would look at it from that perspective as well. They've not won a World Cup in how many years? I don't know when
Yeah,
was
but
the last time they
I
last
mean,
won
it's
the
not
World
like
Cup.
they have that pressure of it being. I don't know who's their oldest player. They're probably like a Depay something. I don't know who their oldest player is, but Aaron, what do you think about? Like, is there any psychological warfare that could happen?
I mean, it could work both ways. It could be a motivating factor which kind of drives them to play their best. And I mean, if you look at Argentina of late, they're not your typical South American team anymore, where it's the more skillful and the whole magical football that you see. I mean, of late, it's mostly been ground and pound and kind of, just do enough to get the result. And um, I think if this is going to be a motivating factor, that this may be Messi's last World Cup, I think that kind of is really up their alley, because it will come down to just putting in every bit of effort. And I mean, we see them leave everything on the field anyway. So, and it's not only Messi. I mean, it is going to be Di Maria's last as well. So you've got two big names, two big icons that have done it. They've been world beaters on the, at least when it comes to club football. So there's a lot to play for, at least when it comes to these two senior statesmen in their team. So I would see that as a motivating thing for them, because I mean, like you said, in the past it has been Messi that's kind of dragged them through number of difficult situations. I think even the previous one, when they reached the final of the World Cup, I mean, it was, everything was just how Messi dragged them all the way there. So if there is anything that you'd like to give back to someone that's done so much for a country, I'm sure this would be it. And I mean, a lot has been said about the crowds and probably the lack of atmosphere in Saudi. But I mean, watching it from a distance, at least from here, I mean, it does seem that that 12th man does help, and there have been teams that have used that extra lift. I mean, you can just see the Morocco game, the way the
Morocco
fans were
game. Oh
going
my
crazy, and
God. I
yeah,
I didn't
so
think that there was. I mean, it just felt like the stadium was only Moroccan fans, and I was like, there's no Spain, and it just felt like the sound was only pure. It felt like you're sitting at a Moroccan home game or something, and they're only Moroccan fans there. It's just ridiculous.
exactly. So I mean, um, I'm pretty sure the fans will be up for it, and we know how boisterous Argentinian fans can get. So I mean, if there is, if this is not a big enough incentive for them to turn up in numbers and lift that team, then I don't see anything else that could make this an even bigger spectacle.
Okay, and the next one. I mean, let's probably end with the. We've spoken about the other three teams, but let's talk about the Portugal Morocco one, because that is. I mean, we're speaking about Morocco. Might as well bring up that fourth match, which is Portugal Morocco. What do you think? You think he's obviously come out now. Santos has obviously come out now and said that Ronaldo's a professional. The moment he was told that he was going to be benched, that he was all right with it. Blah blah blah. That's a way of saying next match he's starting back. Or do you think, given the performances of Ramos and all of that, that maybe he probably sticks with the squad that he played against Switzerland, and then maybe use Ronaldo as the super sub or something like that? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Difficult to say, to be honest. I don't know. From
I'm not going to
a
ask you what
perspective
you
of
would do, because I know what you would do.
of
But
course,
let's.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, from a strategy perspective, looking at how Morocco play, they are quite high intensity if they need to be. In terms of pressing, they're pretty good. So in that case, then if you look at it strategically, if he's looking at the game like he mentioned in Switzerland, that's what he did. That it was a
Yeah.
tactical call. Then you would think he sticks with Ramos because it's the most obvious thing, right? Like we all know Cristiano is 38 now. He has not got the same speed that he did. Uh, so if it is a purely tactical call that he's looking at, he probably thinks, okay, 60 minutes of Goncalo, he gets me what is required, and then the remaining 30 odd minutes is Ronaldo's to, add that cherry on top or whatever. If things go according to plan, if not, then well,
Right.
then if things don't, like, I mean, ideally, if I am Santos at this point, and I have made the
Yeah.
call, previous games call, purely in terms of tactics, then I stick with the guns this match on as well, and I only make the change like if I see 45 minutes, the first 45 minutes have gone according to plan, well and good. I stick for another 15 minutes with Ramos and then introduce Cristiano. But if it's not going according to plan, then I definitely get Cristiano for the next
At
half
half.
immediately. Like the moment the half starts, I get him in because the last thing you want is the game goes sideways and you don't have your legendary player in the team because people are gonna ask questions either ways. Like
Yeah.
you, if
Or you
you,
don't give him enough time to
yeah, like which happened
whatever
basically
equalize.
in Switzerland's game. He didn't get enough time to have any sort of impact. But I mean, again, like from tactical standpoint, I think the best way to go is Goncalo Ramos, stick to that same team, give them the pace, hit them on the break, get those quick early goals in, and then bring in Cristiano because that also allows Cristiano to really go high intensity football in the last 30 minutes or so. More energy, more tired out opponents. Uh,
Yeah.
Sort of plays into his hands is what I would think is the way to go. But honestly, thinking like knowing what Santos probably is gonna do, I think Cristiano's back. He's starting the next game.
Aaron, he's back.
Well, I mean, first let's go on to his the coach's comments. I mean, let's be honest. The only reason he said what he said is to kill any sort of
Yeah.
um, kind of controversy that probably would circulate around the squad. And given what's happened with him and United, we know that there would have been a lot of noise. So saying he was a professional, he's said all the right things. Whether he was or not is your guess is as good as mine. Um, Again, similar to Naeem, I think as far as tactics would go, I would think your best bet would be is to stick with Ramos and then see how the game goes. And Ronaldo will obviously play some sort of role in the game, if not to take a penalty at the end of it. Um, he will play. He will play a role, whatever it is, however big or small it will be. So, but as far as will he or won't he, uh, I think again, like Naeem said, knowing Santos, he'll probably go for his trusted striker. So you might see Ronaldo probably start, but again, I would advise against it.
All right. Okay. Quickly, your one predicted big moment from the quarterfinal. Last question. Aaron, let's get your one predicted big moment
So
from
I
all
think,
four.
I think
like,
I
I mean,
meant
before we get to the questions, we should ideally give out our last four.
You want to give out predictions? I normally try and stay away just because you want to. People don't want to jinx it.
Why not? I
Unless
mean,
you're okay
say
with it.
we have another call where we catch up, probably, then we can review over what we thought versus what ended up being
See,
the case.
I normally wouldn't insist because people know who have asked in the past, they kind of tend to be on the fence anyway, or
as
just
long as we're
don't want to
not
jinx
talking
it.
about Brazil, okay.
I know, right? Like,
Yeah,
there's
see,
reverse psychology work there in that case.
I don't know. Anyway,
Uh,
bring on the this. I don't have to worry anymore.
yeah, it's
So
a relief of sorts in a way, isn't it?
yeah, wish it was in the
Not
group
not a,
stages.
not a favorable one, but
Yeah.
uh, cool. So we've got
Okay, so the first one's Croatia, Brazil.
um,
Yeah, we had to start there. Didn't
yeah, I'm gonna go with Brazil there.
Aaron.
Yeah, I probably predicted to be a difficult one, but I would see Brazil go through only because of what we've seen so far through the tournament. But again, we know Croatia with their wily players. You've got experience there with players that have been at the biggest stages when it comes to club football. So they won't be a pushover. They will be motivated, like we said, like Argentina and the other guys, because they've got people that are playing their last tournament. So it's not going to be easy, but I see Brazil going through that.
Okay. Same. Yeah, Brazil as well. I actually think it might be quite easy. I think Japan would have probably given them a better, bigger
Mm,
push, maybe with the
yeah,
intensity. But
I was
I
actually
feel like
worried
Japan
about
also,
Japan.
but I also feel like Japan could have opened up the game a lot more for Brazil. So even despite their intensity, I feel like maybe even if they got a goal or two, I think Japan could have. I don't know. I think
But
it
As
would have
like I
long
mean,
worked
as
for
more.
long as
me,
Rafinha is not as long as Rafinha has the least amount of shots in that team, I think we'll score goals.
Okay,
And
fair enough.
let's leave
Uh,
him to the crossing, and we'll be good.
finally, we found someone who is worse in shooting than Vinicius, who surprisingly has popped up with quite a few number of goals this tournament. So, um,
he's
all right,
not good.
He's missed a fair few too. So
yeah,
uh,
I know, but he's the
let's
fact
not
that he
let him off
scored.
that easy.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to, but he probably needs to touch Ronaldo's legs as well. I mean, Richarlison's done it, and he's done decently
Yeah.
well. Um, all right, let's move on to the next one, and that is England France.
Aaron, you want to take first?
Um, yeah, I think France here only because I think again they've got the experience, they've been there, done that, and they've got the variety in their attack to kind of mix it up. And as we faulted other teams for being one dimensional, I think France has got numerous ways to go about getting their goals, and they are pretty solid in defense. Well, I won't say rock solid, but they've been able to handle what's been thrown at them thus far. So I'd say they are probably the favorites going into this one. England will probably shoot themselves in the foot, so I'm counting on that. But yeah, I think France to go through there.
Naeem,
Yeah, no surprise
same.
for me. Like definitely France for
Okay.
me. In fact, I think they're gonna rip. I don't know what it is. I get this feeling that they're gonna rip England apart.
I
Something
I
about
wouldn't.
that back line is still not like I just imagine Mbappe and Dembele
When you
going
say
at that
rip,
back line.
when you say rip, how badly are you talking about?
I'm talking about like a 3-1 or a 4-1. I think
Okay.
one goal is definitely there because
Yeah.
considering like Foden and Saka, someone's gonna pop up with a goal.
I think England surprisingly scored the first goal, uh, but I think that's kind of been a trend where they score probably the first goal and then sort of discombobulate. But yeah, I think a France win. I don't think it's going to be as easy as people thought. Maybe I don't know what it's going to be like, but I feel maybe it goes to a 3 at the back and
I don't think it's gonna be
maybe
easy per se. I just think the scoreline is gonna be quite
yeah,
easy because I feel
probably
like probably the first 45 minutes will be a sort of a close fight,
yeah.
but in the second 45 minutes, I feel like France has got too much on England.
Okay. The next one is which one? Oh yeah, oh actually I forgot Netherlands Argentina. Oh, that's going to be a tough one. Why don't you guys take a name? Why didn't you take this first?
Netherlands for me. I think they're a more balanced and rounded out side, and
Okay.
this has nothing to do with Messi being a part of Argentina. I just think of what I've seen of Argentina thus far, I feel like this team is scraped past multiple opponents, and I think Netherlands is just more well-rounded out, mm, confident about what they're doing, and if required, they can really sort of turn up the intensity.
Aaron?
Well, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going against my better judgment, and I'm going to say Argentina nick this one here only because, like I said, they seem to find ways to get through when it comes to these big games. And I mean, we talk about Messi, and we don't want to make everything about Messi, but I mean, the little guy does stand up when it counts. So I mean, you can't put it past him, and so I would say again against my better judgment, but I see Argentina going through that.
I think it's going to go to penalties. Like I have a feeling it does. We've had Netherlands Argentina in the past that has gone to penalties, right? I think 2014 World Cup went to penalties, the semi-finals. So
Mm.
I don't know. Argentina have had penalties in the past, so think it does go to penalties. I think Argentina gets it. I don't think we've got the Tim Krul situation back on here. I think Argentina might just sneak past it, like Aaron mentioned. Yeah, I feel we're setting up a Brazil Argentina semi-final up here, so it's possible. And I guess the last question is Portugal Morocco. Is the Portugal Morocco quarterfinal? What do you guys think?
So I mean,
Yeah,
I want Portugal to be in the semi-final,
my
but
heart says Portugal. My head
yeah, but
says
like from what I've seen from Morocco, I'm very skeptical
yeah.
about this one. Like of all the ties there are, and I'm very clear cut in terms of who I think is going to progress. This one has me bamboozled. I don't know. Like I honestly don't
Yeah.
know what's going to happen against Morocco because I feel like they're really going to get on Portugal's nerves, and I don't know if they have what it takes to break them down.
Aaron?
Well, this one's interesting because I think I would want to root for the underdog here and see Morocco pull one over Portugal, and it has nothing to do with uh, who Portugal are or anything about Ronaldo or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I mean, just we've seen a number of underdogs in this tournament play some really good football, and you'd like one of them to kind of make it deep into this competition. I mean, like Naeem mentioned earlier, Saudi played really good football, and it was kind of disheartening to see them go out so quickly. But Morocco is one that's made it this far. They've played good football. I mean, again, like we said, the atmosphere that their fans bring into the games is incredible. So, yeah, it would be nice to see them stick around a little longer. I mean, if that means we lose one of the greats of football a little bit early, I mean, I wouldn't mind
That's a
that.
sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Yep.
Uh, yeah. I think Morocco. I no, actually no. I think Portugal might actually have
Yeah.
enough in the tank. I just feel Morocco, as well as they have gone, I feel like this. Yeah, I don't think goes to extra time as well. I think Portugal have enough quality in that midfield at least to maybe get
Yeah.
one.
I mean, I predict
Get
a
one.
Portugal win too, but I mean, wishful thinking, right?
Visual, yeah. I'd love for Morocco to get there because they've beaten their Iberian neighbors in Spain. They could beat their Iberian neighbors in Portugal. Might as well conquer the next one, which is France, which is up north of Spain. So might as well go on that. They've all got some connection or the other, right? Like Morocco,
Yeah.
France, and Spain,
We've got
Portugal. So they all
a
have that.
98 final in our hands. Very much likely.
I think it
It
is.
was right. Brazil
I've
versus
predicted.
France
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
98 final,
I've
right?
Yeah. I've predicted that on Twitter for a while now, saying that it is Brazil France as the final.
That is the only team I'm worried about against Brazil. Like no other team, I think. Like even Argentina, I think there's
If you
just too
play
much.
Argent no, no if you play Argentina, I
Okay.
feel like there will be other things at stake. I think there will be other things at stake.
Yeah.
The Brazil Argentina game will be something of something crazy. But yeah, let's see how it goes.
I mean, touch wood.
Like I
Hopefully,
said,
Brazil
like I said,
keeps.
2014, the wounds run deep. We thought they were pretty decent back then too. So let's give them their space and just see what they do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All
Set
right.
unrealistic expectations.
So I guess yeah, that's a good way to end this particular episode. So thank you, Aaron and Naeem, for being a part of this podcast. It was a pleasure having you on here talking about the round of 16 and what's to come in the quarterfinals. Um, yeah, can't wait to have you host you on the next podcast, which I suppose will be talking about the quarterfinals and then the semifinals and the finals. So thank you for being a part of this, and yeah, can't wait to host you again in the near future.
Thank you for
Yep,
having
the feeling's
us.
mutual. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And thanks for playing that small little game. And congratulations once again, Naeem, for
Thank you.
winning
On
it
a
for the
roll.
second
Woohoo!
time.
On a
Yeah,
hat
I know,
trick.
on a roll. Yeah, we probably got another similar small game lined up probably for the quarterfinals. We'll see how that goes. But
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for all of this, and thank you to those of you who've been watching this. If you are listening to this on the audio podcast, then please do hit the like button. You can follow us on any other podcast platforms that you listen to on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we're there. If you're listening to this or if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and let us know if you want to be a part of the podcast as well. You can do that on Instagram and on Twitter, where we try and be we try to be as active as possible. You can figure out that we're getting a little too late now. But that's about it for episode number 2 of our coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2022. I'm your host, Brady, once again. You stay safe and see you.
It's getting a little too late now. Nice.